Most of it will be in one-word increments, and it's actually going to require a lot of participation from the congregation. So what I'm going to do is, and then I'm going to talk briefly about each one. One thing I think that we need to always make sure that no matter what goes on in our lives, no matter what lessons are being taught, whether it's New Testament, Old Testament, no matter what, we need to also make sure, and it's something that I've been trying to make a more conscious effort to always, not just at Easter, but along the way, to always come back to the cross. Because everything is about the cross. Everything was meant to be about the cross, as me and Mr. Billy were talking about earlier. Even if you go back to Genesis, God already knew. God already knew. He already knew that the cross was just around the corner. It's always been about the cross. Yes, the birth is phenomenal, but the cross that weekend, the resurrection, what it means, that is where our salvation lies. So I want tonight to sort of go back, but I'm going to ask you, as I say these words, I'm going to look to you, and then I want you to try to tell me what setting we are in. I'm not going to ask you a question. I'm going to give you one-word phrases most of the time, and then I'm going to ask for you to tell me exactly where we are in the Bible with these words. Now don't get all nervous. It's not anything hard. I knew it, so I didn't know it ain't gonna be nothing crazy. But I want you to listen to these words. But as you hear these words, don't just listen to them as words. Listen to them as the time of what was going on. And even if you want to just close your eyes and hear them, and then try to place yourself within that setting. Because I think that we have to constantly remember what all of this is about. Darkness, stars, shadows, quiet, suspense, grove, trees, alone, questions, anguish, Father, sweat, blood, angels, comfort. Where are we at? Gethsemane. The Garden of Gethsemane. Y'all, I don't know. Have you ever really just thought about what? We talked this morning about fear and how under the bed and in the closet there is no monster. The fear that Jesus had at Gethsemane, he knew that there was a monster waiting. His fear was not just fear, it was a reality. He was going to suffer the cross. He was going to suffer the cross. And as I started thinking about those words, two that really jump out to me is dark and alone. There's nothing worse than being in the dark and being alone. And I don't care if you're a child in your bedroom. I don't care if you're in your life. If you're going through life and you feel that it's dark and you're alone, that is an awful place to be. And I realized, you know why Jesus did that? He did it for me. Jesus did everything he did for me. And each person can say that. He didn't do it for us. He did it for me. Each person needs to make sure they say, God, you didn't do this for everyone. You did it for me. Because each individual, he went to Gethsemane, said, not my will, but yours, God. Footsteps, torches, voices, Romans, surprise, swords, kiss, confusion, betrayal, fearful, run, bound, wrist, marching. Somebody tell me where we're at.
The arrest of Jesus.
The arrest of Jesus. Have you ever had somebody give you a kiss? And I don't care if it was a friend, a spouse, a family member, but then turn around and betray you more than you've ever been betrayed in your whole entire life. You ever been there? See, it's one thing for an enemy to betray you. You expect it. But I think that Christ, in his group of people, in his group, and he didn't pick a bunch. He didn't like he had 10,000 friends. I could maybe see 1 out of 10,000. 12 and one of them turned him over. And you know why he did that? Do you know why he allowed himself? Do you know why he allowed himself to be turned over and betrayed by a friend? For me. Not for us, but for me. And as I say that, I want you to tell yourself, it's always, he did all of this for me. Me, rooster, thrice. That's 3 times. Guilt. Where are we at? Peter. Not me, Lord. Even when everybody else turns their back on you. Have you had that happen where somebody said, I'm with you. I'm with you through thick and thin, no matter what, good times and bad times. I'm going to be there, I promise you. I will never, ever abandon you. I will never turn away from you. And they were true to their word while it was good. But then when it got rough and the storms come, you turned around and they had dove in and headed ashore. You ever been there? Peter. Maybe I see Judas. I mean, heck, he's portrayed throughout the Bible as being a bad guy. But Peter, not Peter. Yeah, Peter and Judas aren't really they're not really different. At that moment, nobody wanted to be there for Christ. But you know why he did that? Does anybody know why he did that? Did that for me. For me. Marching, uproar, prisoner, hushed, Pilate, innocent, bedlam, Barabbas, riot, despair, back, whip, tear, bone, flesh, rhythm, silence, whip, silence, whip, silence, whip, thorns, laughter, threats, looks, yelling, weak, blood. Anybody know where we're at? We're at Golgotha. We're now at the trial, and they're beating him and they're slashing him, and they've just asked, "Who do you want me to free?" Do y'all know that Barabbas? Do y'all know how Barabbas had a first name? It was Jesus Barabbas. Who do I free? Jesus the Christ or Jesus the Barabbas? We're going to free one today. Jesus is going free. And Jesus knew the people who had cheered him just a few days before now are laughing and rejoicing at him being beaten. Soldiers, thieves, crosspiece, heavy, sun, stagger, houses, shops, faces, mourners, murmurs, women, tumble, cobblestone, exhaustion, gasping, Simon. Where are we at? The walk. And as he's walking, it wasn't just enough to take him up there to his cross, but they made him carry his cross. And they beat him along the way. And then when he couldn't take it anymore and he fell down, they got somebody to come in and help him carry the cross. You see, Jesus knew that in life we cannot make it by ourselves. And as he carried the cross, he knew that he had to show us you can't go through this life alone. Sometimes people have to help you when carrying the problems that you have. Yes, it's good to say I can do